Are you ready to test your limits? Today, we're diving into the most challenging video games of the last decade, games that have pushed players to their breaking points with their intense difficulty and intricate gameplay. Choosing these games wasn't easy. We looked at not just how tough they were, but also how gamers reacted and what critics had to say. These aren't just hard games. They're the ones that reshaped our ideas of what's possible in video gaming. Stick around as we explore titles that have both frustrated and fascinated players worldwide, setting the stage for a deep dive into each remarkable game. Number 1. Dark Souls 3, 2016. Dark Souls 3, launched in 2016 by From Software, has built a strong reputation for being one of the toughest games in the gaming world. It's known for testing players' limits and pushing them to master the skills needed to progress. The game's high difficulty is by design, aimed to give players a sense of accomplishment as they overcome its challenges. The game's difficulty stems primarily from its complex combat system that demands players to be precise and patient. Each enemy type has its own set of attacks and behaviors, requiring players to learn and adapt quickly or face repeated defeats. The relentless bosses, each with unique battle tactics, further test player skills, often becoming roadblocks that can take hours or even days to surpass. Environment plays a crucial role in the game's challenge. Dark Souls 3's world is filled with traps, hidden enemies, and treacherous cliffs, all designed to catch the unwary player off guard. The game's interconnected world allows for intricate exploration, but also means that danger could be lurking around any corner. Resource management is another layer of difficulty. Players must manage their health, stamina, and equipment carefully. Mismanagement can lead to quick deaths, especially in areas where enemies are abundant and merciless. The limited opportunities to save progress mean that every decision carries weight, adding to the game's tension and difficulty. Number 2. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, 2019. Released in 2019, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice marks a departure from the traditional gameplay mechanics seen in other titles by From Software. Set in the late 1500s during the Sengoku period in Japan, Sekiro combines historical elements with mystical aspects, creating a unique narrative and aesthetic backdrop. The core of Sekiro's difficulty lies in its combat system, which revolves around a posture mechanic rather than traditional health bars. Players must engage in a dance of attack and counterattack to break an enemy's posture and deliver critical blows. This system demands precise timing and quick reflexes, making each encounter intense and rewarding. Unlike its predecessors, Sekiro discourages reliance on passive defense, like shielding or dodging to the side. Instead, it encourages players to confront attacks head-on through deflections and counterattacks, significantly raising the stakes of each combat interaction. This makes the gameplay not just challenging, but also highly engaging, as players must constantly be on alert and ready to react. Another challenging aspect is the limited ability to recover health, which forces players to adopt a more strategic approach to exploration and combat. Mistakes are costly, and learning from them is essential for survival. This unforgiving nature of the game makes each victory more satisfying. Sekiro's setting and story also contribute to its appeal, weaving historical realism with fantasy that captivates players, making them eager to explore its world despite the difficulties they face. The game not only tests physical skills, but also immerses players in a richly crafted world filled with stories of bravery, betrayal, and supernatural intrigue. Number 3. Bloodborne, 2015. Bloodborne, released in 2015 by From Software, introduces players to a dark, gothic world filled with horror and mystery. Unlike its sister games in the Souls series, Bloodborne leans heavily into horror elements, creating an atmosphere that is both eerie and unnerving. The game's combat style is high-risk and aggressive, demanding that players not only fight with precision, but also manage their fear. The game's difficulty is significantly shaped by its unique enemy design. Monsters in Bloodborne are not only terrifying to look at, but also incredibly deadly in their attacks. Each creature has its patterns that players must learn if they hope to survive. The design encourages a proactive combat style. Hesitation or a defensive approach often leads to a swift death. Strategic play is essential in Bloodborne. Players must use their environment to their advantage, choosing when to engage or retreat. The game also introduces a health regain system that allows players to recover portions of lost health by striking enemies shortly after being hit. This system encourages and rewards aggressive gameplay, but also increases the risk, as trying to regain health can lead to further damage. Resource management adds another layer of challenge. Ammunition and healing items are scarce, forcing players to make tough decisions about when and how to use these precious resources. This scarcity, combined with the relentless difficulty of the enemies, makes every encounter in Bloodborne a tense and challenging experience. Number 4. Cuphead, 2017. Cuphead, released in 2017 by Studio MDHR, stands out with its unique art style that pays homage to 1930s cartoons. The hand-drawn animations and jazzy soundtrack perfectly capture the era, but it's the game's punishing gameplay that has captured the attention of players around the world. The main challenge in Cuphead comes from its boss battles, which are both the centerpiece of the game and the source of its notorious difficulty. Each boss fight is a complex sequence of patterns that players must memorize and respond to. The trial-and-error nature of these encounters means that players will likely face defeat many times before finally securing a victory. These battles require not just quick reactions, but also strategic planning. Players must decide which weapons and abilities to equip, each of which can drastically affect their chances of success. The game rarely allows for passive play. Instead, it demands constant attention and precise execution. Number 5. Hollow Knight, 2017. Hollow Knight, developed by Team Cherry and released in 2017, invites players into an expansive, beautifully crafted world known as Hallownest. This Metroidvania-style game is renowned not just for its challenging gameplay, but also for its deep narrative, which unfolds through exploration and interaction with the game's environment and its inhabitants. The lore is rich and mysterious, enticing players to delve deeper into the Forgotten Kingdom. The complexity of Hollow Knight's map is one of its core challenging elements. The game features a vast, interconnected world that players can explore in a non-linear fashion. This freedom means that players often find themselves in areas that present a significant challenge without clear directives on where to go next. Navigating this labyrinthine world requires keen observation and memory, as many areas look similar and can easily confuse or mislead. Boss fights in Hollow Knight are as varied as they are challenging. Each boss has unique attack patterns and abilities that can test players' reflexes and strategy. These encounters require not only understanding and adapting to these patterns, but also quick decision-making under pressure. The difficulty of these fights can spike unexpectedly, pushing players to their limits. Number 6. Celeste, 2018. Celeste, developed by Matt Makes Games and released in 2018, is much more than just a platformer. It's a deeply personal story of a young woman named Madeline, battling her inner demons as she climbs the titular mountain. The game is acclaimed for its handling of serious themes like mental health and resilience, presented through tight, engaging gameplay that mirrors the protagonist's struggles and triumphs. The gameplay of Celeste is characterized by precision platforming. Each level is designed to challenge players with tight jumps, quick dashes, and a myriad of obstacles, each requiring precise control and timing to overcome. The margin for error is often slim, making each leap feel dangerous and each success rewarding. Adding to the game's challenge are the optional collectibles, known as strawberries, which are placed in incredibly hard-to-reach areas. Collecting these serves no purpose beyond personal satisfaction and increasing the game's difficulty, as they often require mastering the most challenging maneuvers in the game. Celeste also features B-side and C-side levels, alternate versions of standard levels that push the difficulty to even more extreme levels, truly testing the skills of even the most seasoned players. These levels require not just mastery of the game's mechanics, but also incredible patience and persistence. Celeste's brilliance lies in how its gameplay and narrative themes intertwine, creating a cohesive and emotionally resonant experience that challenges both the player's dexterity and emotional resilience. Number 7. The Witness, 2016. The Witness, released in 2016 by Jonathan Blow, creator of the critically acclaimed Game Braid, transports players to a mysterious and isolated island. This enigmatic setting is a vast open world filled with natural beauty and man-made structures, each corner and crevice of the island meticulously crafted to integrate a series of complex puzzles. The game's environment, serene yet solitary, enhances the cerebral nature of the challenges it presents. The puzzles in The Witness are notorious for their complexity and the minimal guidance given to solve them. Each puzzle is unique, often building on the mechanics and ideas introduced in earlier challenges. The game encourages players, and at times requires them, to perceive their surroundings differently, to unlock new ways of thinking and solving problems. This lack of direct guidance means that players must be observant, patient, and willing to experiment. Number 8. Super Meat Boy Forever, 2020. Super Meat Boy Forever, released in 2020, evolves from the beloved 2010 platformer, Super Meat Boy. Developed by Team Meat, this sequel adapts the hardcore Twitch-based platforming of the original and integrates it into a new auto-runner format. This change means that while the spirit of relentless challenge remains, the gameplay mechanics have shifted to match a continuous movement style, increasing the game's pace and the precision required from the player. The key challenge in Super Meat Boy Forever is the relentless speed combined with the need for precise timing. Each level is designed with rapid sequences of obstacles that require split-second decisions and flawless execution. The game automatically controls the running speed of the characters, so players must focus entirely on timing jumps, slides, and punches to navigate through the levels. This iteration of the game introduces procedurally generated levels, which means that every playthrough can present a new configuration of challenges. This unpredictability adds to the difficulty, as players cannot simply memorize patterns, but must adapt their reflexes and strategies in real time. Super Meat Boy Forever's difficulty is further amplified by its death is a lesson philosophy. Players are expected to die frequently as part of the learning process, with each death teaching timing, pattern recognition, and the nuances of the game's mechanics. The game celebrates this trial-and-error approach, making each level completion feel like a hard-earned victory. In combining the beloved brutal difficulty of its predecessor with new mechanics and dynamic levels, Super Meat Boy Forever challenges both new players and veterans of the series to master its unforgiving, fast-paced gameplay. Number 9. Getting Over It with Bennett, 2017. Getting Over It with Bennett, released in 2017, quickly ascended to cult status within the gaming community due to its unconventional gameplay and philosophical narration. This game presents a Sisyphean task where players control a character named Diogenes, who is stuck in a cauldron and must navigate a mountainous landscape using only a hammer. This quirky and minimalistic setup contrasts sharply with the game's infuriating difficulty level. Number 10. Returnal, 2021. Returnal, released in 2021 by Housemarque IDA, is a title that combines roguelike elements with fast-paced third-person shooting, creating a challenging and dynamic gameplay experience. Set on a shape-shifting alien planet, the game follows the story of Celine, an astronaut trapped in a relentless loop of life and death. Each death restarts the cycle, with the environment and enemies changing with each iteration. The challenging elements of Returnal are deeply tied to its roguelike nature. The consequences of death in the game are significant, as players lose most of their equipment and must start from the beginning each time. This mechanic not only heightens the stakes of every encounter, but also ensures that no two playthroughs are the same, as the game's world rearranges itself after each death. The environments in Returnal are designed to be disorienting and unpredictable. The alien landscapes shift and evolve, presenting new hazards and enemy configurations that require players to adapt their strategies continually. The fast-paced combat demands quick reflexes and precise shooting, further compounding the difficulty. Returnal's integration of narrative elements within its roguelike structure also adds depth to the challenge, as players uncover snippets of the story with each cycle, driving them to push forward despite the difficulties. This blend of narrative and gameplay innovation makes Returnal not only a test of skill, but also a compelling exploration of character and narrative, set within a relentlessly challenging game design. If you enjoyed exploring these peaks of gaming challenge with us, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the gaming world. Have thoughts on today's list or suggestions for future topics and games we should cover? Drop your ideas in the comments below. We love hearing from you, and your input helps shape our content.